Yo, great freaking Saturday evening to you all, man. It's a great day. We're alive. My apologies for coming on so late. I don't know what the hell was going on with my IG. Had to actually go into the apps and force stop everything, but we're here. We're here. It's been one of those days, man. Making measurable progress in reasonable time. Because, hey, man, the way I see it, so long as we don't stop trying, no amount of setbacks, failures, and fuck ups is gonna stop us from, fulfilling the mission at hand. I wrote something earlier and it was like, most people spend their entire life making mistakes, and as soon as they do something that makes them feel good, as soon as they do something good and they feel good about it, they go right back to making mistakes. And then there's another group of people that, spend the majority of their life aiming to do what is right. And often when they mess up, they never take it so personal and they instantly go back to, doing the right thing as often as possible. Sometimes I find myself doing that very often, If I don't do something because of how I feel, or if I do something because of how I feel, I oftentimes, don't allow that, whether it is a good thing or a bad thing, to stop me from continuing to do what needs to get done. Today was a good day. It didn't start the best, but it sure as fuck ended the best. Is we cold? Nah, bro, I don't got a shirt on, so I'm like being like, staying cool, staying warm. Because staying cool, I'm staying warm. Staying warm. It's cold out here, man. It's like 30, it was a little warmer today. It was like 41 degrees out. Went and did my nice little Saturn's Day hike for about two hours and some change. But tomorrow is supposed to be like 70 up here. Supposedly. I'm not sure. But we'll see. It's starting to get warm, so it'll get even better to train outside and to get to the gym and train in the morning. But like I said, man, it's been one of those days, and it's gonna be like that. Sometimes they might not start the best, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't strive to end it as best as possible. All right? No matter what happens the night before, no matter what happens the morning of, always aim to, despite consequences and circumstances, to do your absolute best with whatever time you have. Because you don't know how much time you have. You really don't. At any moment of time, and in any point of space, and in any place, it could be your last. It could literally be your last. And this is why it is so important to aim to do the right thing as often as possible, especially when nobody is watching, because we never know when our last moment may be. You get me? Like, too many of us take life for granted, and we spend our entire life just chilling, smoking, drinking, procrastinating, playing video games, watching movies, eating unhealthy foods, entertaining unhealthy habits, unhealthy thoughts, unhealthy conversation, unhealthy people, unhealthy places, unhealthy things. And then, death comes knocking at the door, and all of a sudden, people are filled with fear, regret, discontent, a sense of anger towards life, as though life didn't give them the liberty of choice, as life didn't bless them with the dignity to make of their life whatever they chose to make out of their life, given all the richness and the abundance and just, all that life provides. Each and every one of us, our life is what we make of it. Granted, we don't choose what family we are born to, and the financial status of that family, the intellectual capacity and the health of that family, but we sure as hell greatly determine the outcome of our life. If we live a good life, a bad life, or if we die rich or poor, that is 100% within our control as individuals. We can blame social construct, we can blame society, and use scientific mumbo jumbo to substantiate our failures and our inability to do what is within our power to do. Or we can look at the problems that we see. We can look at our lack of intellectual development, at our unhealthy habits, at our lack of spiritual and emotional development and understanding, and we can choose to make a change. It's up to each individual to pick and choose and decide if they want to live a rich life, or just die having lived nothing and just be filled with regret at the end of our days. Like, I stepped out today, just a little bit about me right now today. I stepped out today, I put that 70-pound pack on my back, and as I'm walking down the stairs, listening to my guy Jim Rohn, for almost, nearly 3 or 4 miles, I kept on thinking, like, shit, what if this is my last walk? I don't know why. I often get those thoughts whenever I put on that pack and I go walk, because it's 70 pounds. It's half my weight. I'm literally carrying about 50%, 48 to 50% of my body weight on my back. The shit is miserable. And those are some of the thoughts that start coming into my mind. Like, fuck, what if this is my last day? You get what I'm saying? Sometimes when I'm not even in training, that usually with that pack on I usually feel like I'm about to fucking die. and who knows, maybe something is dying within me, right? Maybe that weak, that undisciplined, that lacking in commitment aspect of self, maybe that's what dies whenever I put that stupid ass pack that makes me look like I'm insane on my back. You get what I'm saying? But as I heard, as I'm listening to my guy Earl Nightingale, he was like, the insanity of man, the sanity, it was, paraphrasing, but it was, what I got from it is that the sanity of man compares in nothing to the insanity of God. The mediocre, normal, go with the flow of the herd sanity of man, do not be weird, don't be crazy. It doesn't allow us to truly live out our true, authentic uniqueness, However, the insanity of God, the madness of the universe, that aspect that allows us to be creative and to use our imagination and our powers of intellect and our ability to harness the infinite intelligence of the cosmos, consciousness, to to work for us. You know, that's not normal. And that will not be well received by a great number of people in society. So, you know, if you want to be an individual of impact and influence and value, you got to step out. You got to step out from underneath your mom's, falda, dress, and you got to go out and live life and embrace the suck and do the things that you do not feel like doing, that are uncomfortable, that are hard, that are difficult, that are challenging. One has to risk failure in order to have the potential opportunity to succeed. One must risk loss in order to, potentially win. For progress, for success, for any of those things to be possible, we have to risk the opportunity of failure, of making a mistake, of losing. One can't have one without the other. We cannot win if we don't risk losing. And it's scary, uncertainty is scary, and that's why so many people never become anything in life. There's so much craziness going on today in our society, but that's only a distraction. That's basically that's like life testing out who's committed and who's not. And those that are not committed, they're going to be like, what's the point? Like, we're going to die anyway. And it's like, yeah, you're going to die anyway. But you can either live a life of mediocrity and die the moment that your body dies, or you can live a life of, what is the word that I'm looking for? Not mediocrity, but extraordinary. You can live an extraordinary life and continue to live on long after your body passes. We know of individuals today that they continue to impact life long from the beyond. They've reached a level of what is considered immortal. Not in the mortal flesh, but in the spirit. They developed a consciousness that allowed them to continue to impact and influence life after life had passed for them. And there are people that will need that you have to offer. People in your family, people in your community, people in the world, people that haven't even been born yet need what you have to offer. That's how important. That's how crazy life is. Each and every one of us is so unique that nobody will ever be born again with the same genetic makeup that we have. From the eyes to our fingerprints to our genetic makeup, nobody will ever be born with the same perspective, understanding, way of perceiving this reality, of communicating, of manipulating matter to their benefit. Nobody. Not like you or I or anybody else. So whatever uniqueness you have, the only way to bring that about is by putting in the work, by stepping out of your comfort zone, by looking crazy, insane. A controlled sanity, controlled by you, not by the external forces in this society. The forces that cause us to procrastinate, to push off our plans, to not believe in ourselves, to doubt ourselves, to doubt others, and to discourage others from striving and trying to do something better, something different. Change is possible, but each and every one of us has to believe in the capacity to change. One must be able to see potential in ourselves in order to see potential in others and in the things that are around us. It all starts with self-realization, self-mastery, mastery of our emotions, of our minds, of our thought, of our body, of our sensations, of the actions that we allow ourselves to take. That's the only way to cultivate a mindset that is able to put the skill sets into motions to be able to take advantage of the innumerable opportunities that are available to us in life, yo. Yo, you can look at people like Conor McGregor, freaking Ronda Rousey, Dwayne The Rock. Like, these individuals, like, yo, Conor McGregor trained for so long before he became a professional. Like, the dude's got making money through liquor and so many different ways, man. You say it's easier said than done. No, man, it's easier. Like, yeah, like, you know, a lot of people, they talk, but they don't walk the walk. And that is what is important. It's important to walk, like, to practice what we preach. And it might, you know, we may fuck up, but just because we fuck up doesn't mean that we're a fuck up. Doesn't mean that we have to stop trying. No, continue to try until you go from good to better to greater to excellence. That's all it is, my brother. That's how one gets it done, is by walking. Like, the good book says it, faith without works is dead. Like, we cannot have hope and faith and then not put in the work. That's where love is. That love, that's self-discipline. Self-discipline is self-love. Self-discipline is self-love. The only way to cultivate love of self, like, the only people that truly love themselves are those that develop the self-discipline and apply it to their life. And make commitments and set goals and go about accomplishing those commitments, or keeping to those commitments and accomplishing those goals, regardless of how long it takes for them to accomplish those goals. Like, Ronda Rousey went from wrestling to the UFC, from the UFC, now the chick is acting in WWE, like, different things. And through those, and those are just two individuals, right? McGregor, Rousey. You got someone like Joe Rogan, started doing things on television. You know what I'm saying? Entertainment. Now he has his own podcast that is able to, that reaches over 11 million people. Triple what the 3 largest networks in America reach. Like, that's one individual. We have so much capacity, so much potential to, you know, really shift the fabric of our reality today because of the medias that we are able to communicate the message and, you know, blessing and gift that we have been born to share with the world. But that can only happen through cultivation. We can only give the fruits that we cultivate. And we will be judged just as we humans judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. We will be judged by society and by eternity, by consciousness itself, based on the fruit that we bear. Because we're a tree too. We're like a tree. The older we get, the better the fruit. Nah, fighting is spiritual, man. Fighting is 100% spiritual. I didn't start fighting until, like, I had my spiritual awakening through nature, you know, through the plants. 'Cause I wouldn't have the communion with the Most High. I wouldn't feel as connected to consciousness, to the universe, to that which we call God, were it not for those wonderful psychedelics, for those mushrooms. Like literally 10 months after doing my initial mushroom trip, I've done dimethyltryptamine as well. But my first, like, not 9 to 10 months after my first mushroom trip, I was stepping inside of a ring, because during my initial experience, so many psychological and emotional blockages were lifted that my spirit was able to, like, regain a sense of understanding of what it was born to do. And I realized, like, yo, you're a fucking warrior. That's why you went into the Marine Corps. That's why you wanted to do the fighting before, but you fell out of it because you are letting we often allow the things that are out of our control to control how we feel, and often if we allow things to control how we feel and we don't dictate and control the feelings that we allow ourselves to feel and entertain, those feelings can dictate the thoughts that we allow to manifest, and those thoughts will also affect even further our emotions, and in turn our actions, our motions, our energies in motion, right? So once I did the shrooms, I stopped stressing about the things that I couldn't control, and I just started focusing on the things that I could, which was gratitude, right? I could control my attitude by expressing gratitude for the things that I am able to have, I am able to do, and that I do have control over. That's why I encourage everyone that I meet, that I see with a down attitude, hey fam, start expressing some gratitude, because you're fucking alive and you're fortunate enough to breathe the breath of life every day. So therefore you have no excuse to be ungrateful. And so I started fighting, and I continue to train, and it's something that I look forward to, doing for the rest of my life, for as long as it is humanly possible in this vessel of mine, because there is nothing more spiritual than war. For a man, there is nothing more spiritual than war. There is nothing more spiritual than as a man cultivating the warrior aspect, cultivating the masculine frame in body, mind, and soul. That is probably the most spiritual walk that a man could ever take, and that is why we see our society so in disarray, because not a lot of males in our society have that warrior spirit cultivated. They're more dominated by the coward within than by the warrior within. But yeah, man, fighting, when I fight, that's like a tribute to the Most High. When I train, that's like a tribute to the Most High. Absolutely, man. We gotta cultivate that masculine frame, man. We're born male. We're born male, but we must choose to become a man. We must choose to become a man, and one of the aspects of becoming a man is to cultivate the warrior aspect, to cultivate the teacher, the priest, the lover, the healer, and that king. That king that can also be a humble servant to his kingdom. That's really where it's at. And ain't many sovereign individuals in our society today. How that's fun. Overcoming breakups, man. Listen, that shit is, as I don't know, man. We men, fucking. Hey, listen, is an opportunity. Learn, gain what needs to be gained from that previous relationship. What value, what lessons what you learned, where you messed up, where you were good, and move on. Move on and look to be better for that next that comes. Absolutely, man. What? I'm a lover, man. I'm a fucking lover. I got a fucking, but it happens. So, the best thing that I always do is to not hold on, like not hold on to things that regret and shit happens. Shit happens. You fucked up. The best thing to do is to learn from the positive and the negatives that came out of that relationship, and develop ourselves, become better. At the end of the day, we're men. Like we as a man, we age like wine, man. Sadly for women, they age like milk or bread. You get what I'm saying? So time is not on their side, but it is on our side. So if we're just patient and we continue to work on ourselves and to refine those aspects of self that are necessary for us to accomplish our mission, our purpose in life, the right woman will come into our path, and hopefully we're better equipped, be it mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or financially, to provide what is necessary to really give that woman what she needs and deserves, so that what may have caused the previous failures to happen doesn't repeat itself. As a man, being that masculine energy, that teacher, that master builder, that logical, that reasonable aspect, we're able to provide women with that groundedness, that sense of security, that peace that will allow them to feel comfortable with us. So the better we can do it. Hey, peace, man. Appreciate you for coming through, man. Have a great one, Stoic. Will allow them to feel more comfortable in our presence and to remain around, or to want to remain around longer. Sometime, hopefully forever. That's what most of us want. Like, bitch, don't look at another fucking nigga. I'm the only one. Right? Like, you don't need to be looking at another. You'll never need another man but me. But sadly, not a lot of men cultivate themselves. They're so empty within that they don't take the time to fill their cup, so that any woman that comes into their life, they are equipped to fulfill them in body, mind, and soul, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, in every aspect that is required to fulfill a woman. But it all starts with self. It all starts with self. It all starts with us men doing the uncomfortable work that many of us don't feel like doing, because we don't feel like coming out of our comfort zones. So because most of us cannot control how we feel, and we cannot direct our feelings in a direction that they work for us to our benefit, they end up working to our detriment, because in not wisely directing our feelings through logic and reasoning, logic and reason, our feelings direct our thoughts, which in turn guide us to behave in very destructive manners for ourselves and for society. That's why the highest number of homeless individual is men. The prisons are filled with mostly men. Victims of crime and perpetrators of crime are mostly men. Because almost anything suicide, most people with that self-delete, males. So because many males do not take it upon themselves to really work on themselves and to focus on what is necessary, which is the development of their mind intellectually, the development of their body physically, and the cultivation of their soul through a positive attitude that is cultivated through gratitude. They never move from the stage of a simple male to becoming a man, and from a man to a sovereign individual that is not governed by his bodily sensation, an undisciplined and egocentric mind, and ungrateful spirit. And what we see in our society today in this 2022, our politicians, our corporate officials, our scientists, our doctors, our teachers, professors, almost, in almost every level, from academia to politics to religion, our society is riddled by a bunch of less than males that don't embody the qualities and faculties of a complete conscious man that is a leader, a teacher, a lover, a student, a master, and also a servant to himself and to those that are in need of his service. How do we correct these things? How do we correct these wrongs? We start with ourselves. We accept responsibility and become accountable for our mistakes and the mistakes of our predecessors, so that we can learn from them and from our own, so that we may teach the posterity, the children that are to come, the youth, to do better by being better and striving and believing in the potential and possibility of having better. With that said, much gratitude be to those that came on and provided some input, some value to expand on the conversation of today, to make it a little more diverse, while also allowing us to come full circle to this moment. Has been a great Saturday. All glory and grace be to the Most High. In you and I, that is all. Much gratitude, family. May you have a great one this day and every day that is to come. Do your best with what you got, wherever you are. And I promise you, you keep striving, and ain't nothing stopping you from becoming the individual that you envision yourself, believe yourself, and can feel yourself capable of becoming one.